Let's restart my plant collection. Hypothetically, of course. Welcome, my name is Stephanie, and in today's video, I'll be talking about houseplants that if I had to restart my plant collection, houseplants that I would probably purchase first, specifically common houseplants. Recently, I filmed and released a video earlier this week, it depends on when you're watching this, about houseplants that I regretted buying and fell out of love with. And after filming that, I thought to myself, you know what houseplants would I buy again if I needed to? Just a little reminder before I get into it. When I say common houseplants, I'm referring to houseplants that are common in my area. Different houseplants are available in different areas. Something that may be common or easily found where I live may not be common where you live. So take it with a grain of salt, but these are houseplants that are common to my part of the world, which is Southern Ontario, Canada. So let's get started because I'm excited to talk about these plants. And I know a lot of you here are Hoya lovers. Hi, welcome. So I thought I'd start with the Hoya that I would repurchase, common Hoya. It was hard because I mostly collect uncommon Hoya, but common Hoya that I would repurchase. For starters, I would totally repurchase the Hoya Australis Lisa. I really enjoy owning this Hoya. I love this Hoya because it is easy. It's very resilient. It was the first Hoya I ever got, so I can tell you hands down that it's easy and resilient. And it has this beautiful yellowish variegation in the middle. And I think it's very beautiful. I like that about it. It has these very broad, flat leaves that are just very satisfying, very enjoyable to look at. And I'm excited for when mine becomes really big. I will show you clips of mine, but also some, maybe shots of some other big, full Australis Lisas. It gives me something to look forward to. But definitely the Hoya Australis Lisa would be on my list. I'm looking at my phone. I have my list right here. The Hoya Carnosa is another one that I would repurchase, specifically the Crimson Queen. I love the Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. I really enjoy, I believe the Crimson Queen has that outer variegation. I just love how some leaves can have this full white elbow look to them. I don't have that as yet in my collection. Mine is still very young, but I really like that. I love how tough and succulent the leaves are. And this is another example of a very resilient plant. I've messed with it a few times. I've repotted it a few times, trying to figure out what would be best, the best substrate I'd like to grow it in. It was actually featured in my last repotting video. And so far, I think this medium might be the best one. And if you want to know, you have to check out that video. It's very easygoing. It's not the fastest grower. I mean, Hoya in general aren't very fast growing, but I do have a few other Hoya that are a little faster than this one. So it's not the fastest growing, but I think it's a very satisfying plant. I will say that a lot for this. I like the bigger leaves, and the variegation. The Australis Lisa has more of a yellow variegation. The Crimson Queen has more of a white variegation, and I like that about it. Also, I would get another Crimson Princess. The Crimson Princess that I currently have is on the struggle bus. Again, just like the Crimson Queen, I've been sort of messing around with it a little bit. I recently started collecting Hoya. If you're new here, you wouldn't know that, but I recently started collecting Hoya in about January this year. So I'm still trying to figure them out. I'm still sort of testing them out in different mediums, in different light conditions. I'm trying to learn them for my benefit and hopefully for yours as well, so that I can share the tips and what I've learned and discovered about Hoya, at least in my growing conditions. The Crimson Princess, I must say, is not as resilient as the Crimson Queen. I'm not even 100% sure that I have a Crimson Princess. There is one called the Tricolor, and I could very well have that one. But again, with the Hoya names, sometimes sometimes there's just so misleading, many names for the same plant. But I either have the tricolor or the princess. Either way, I think it's a princess that I have, but either way, I would repurchase another Hoya Crimson Princess. I love that variegation. A lot of the plants that I will mention, you will notice a lot of talk about variegation. I just love variegation. I'm not one for the plain green leaves. I think I've spent a few years enjoying that, and now I like variegated plants a little bit more. They add a little bit more spice, I think. I'm not a fan of having duplicates, but with these two plants, for now, where I'm at in my collecting, I do think the Crimson Princess is different enough from the Crimson Queen, and I would actually get both of them. So these are the 3 Hoya that I would pick up. I know that there are just a few other Hoya that are starting to now become more popular, but they're a bit too tricky. And if I'm restarting my plant collection, I want to rely on something that I know is more resilient, something that I know that I won't have to repurchase anytime soon. These are the 3 Hoya that I would pick up. Moving on, another plant that I would get is the Philodendron Lemon Lime. I recently got one of these this year and I love it. I also have a Pothos, neon Pothos. I have I think 2. You might be able to see one on either side of the screen right here. I'm not sure how much you can see. I do love the neon Pothos, I do, but I feel like the Philodendron Lemon Lime is a little bit more vibrant than the neon Pothos. The yellow in it is it's much more rich, and I like the heart-shaped leaf color. I love the heart-shaped leaf, and there's something about it that's a bit different than the neon Pothos that I can't quite put my finger on it. The leaves are probably smoother on the Philodendron. I'm not sure, but it just has a little bit of an edge that the neon Pothos doesn't have. I love them both, but if I had to buy one because I'm restarting my collection, I would choose the Philodendron Lemon Lime over the neon Pothos. That one is one I'd go for. Recently, a few days ago, I put mine in a north-facing window. Not quite sure how it's going to fare there. Yeah, risky business. But we'll see. We'll see if it reverts. We'll see if it has more green. We'll see if it grows slower. I don't know, but I really like that one. Of course, no common houseplant list is complete without a Pothos. And yes, I know I didn't mention the neon Pothos, but I would get for common Pothos, I would pick up a Marble Queen Pothos. I love the Marble Queen Pothos. It is not my favorite Pothos. It's not my favorite, but all my other favorite plants, like my favorite Pothos is, I think, the Mandula Pothos. But it's not common. It's a bit harder to find. So that's why it's not on this list. But for common, I would pick the Marble Queen Pothos. And I would actually keep both. I would keep a Marble Queen and a Mandula Pothos. I love the Marble Queen because, again, it's resilient and, how do I put it? It doesn't quite lose its variegation. So for example, one of the ones that I have, actually both of the ones that I have, are in north-facing windows, and the one that's been there the longest, the one in my son's room, my son forgets to open his windows and blinds all the time, it still has a decent amount of variegation. And I do believe if I had to put it in a much brighter area, that bright white variegation is just gonna pop right back out. It's a very beautiful plant. It's very beautiful. It doesn't revert easily. I love that about it. I used to have a big lush one, like bigger than this neon Pothos that you could see next to me. I hope you can see it. If you've been on my channel for a little while, you would remember the beautiful one that I had, but I got a little overconfident and I lost a lot of it. And so I don't have that much of it left, but you know what? That's okay, because the big one was a lot to maintain. Not a lot to maintain, but you sort of have to chop it back quite a bit. And sometimes, you know, you're sort of walking on it and, you know, it gets a little bit annoying after a while. So I don't mind having the smaller ones, and they're super easy to propagate. Like, you know, all of these plants, the Philodendron, the Pothos, so easy to propagate. So if you wanted to make duplicates to put in other places of your house, you totally could do it. So that's a plant that definitely I would pick the Marble Queen Pothos out of all the other Pothos. Another one that I would get, a Syngonium. Absolutely a Syngonium. A Syngonium is another genus that I just discovered maybe late last year. I discovered Syngonium. I don't know where, I don't know what rock I was living under to have not known about Syngonium, but Syngonium is probably the easiest genus ever. Like between Syngonium and Pothos, these are so easy because they both grow really fast, grow very quickly, and they need minimal care. I can grow, I want to say all of my Syngonium are growing in water right now, but no, I have two Syngoniums in water and another one above me in pond. But so easy. But which Syngonium would I pick? That's a tough one because my favorite Syngonium is uncommon. So yeah, I can't pick that. But the one that I would pick, it would either be, I probably would pick the Milk Confetti. I'm looking over there because I have both a Milk Confetti and the pink one. I can't remember what it's called exactly. I can't remember. It's just that the pink one gets a little bit dirty looking. The pink looks a little dirty brown color after a while. Doesn't bother me, but if I had to be choosing it between the pink one and the white one, I would pick the Milk Confetti. I like the whiter look to it. I like the little spots of pink, and you can get one. The one that I have is mostly white, but you can get some with more pink on it. And so I do think that the Milk Confetti has become more common. I'm seeing it more and more. Maybe not at Home Depot, but I've been seeing it in more and more nurseries now. So definitely this one is a more common plant now. I would pick that one for the white, but definitely with Syngonium, there are so many options, so many colors that you can pick from, so many, yeah, there are quite a few. You can get green, white, pink, mostly these three colors with Syngonium. So yeah, I would pick the white or the pink. Yeah, the white or the pink. But then the Milk Confetti does have splashes of pink in it. It was hard for me to do this video and only pick common plants because there are certain house plants that I prefer the common version of, and there are certain houseplants that I prefer the more uncommon or rare version of. So it's a nice challenge to pick between the common ones. But if you want a video with uncommon houseplants, or not really rare, I don't have that many rare houseplants, but uncommon ones, comment down below to let me know that you'd like that, and I'll film that for you. So checking them off my list here. Next we're at the Alocasia. So what Alocasias would I pick? I would pick the Alocasia Frydek, not the variegated one, obviously, because this is a common houseplant video. I would still get the Alocasia Frydek. I really like the Alocasia Frydek. Now it's funny, has there ever been a plant that you've seen a million times in a million different collections, whether it's on YouTube or at other friends' houses or going to the store and seeing them there, and you were just never attracted to it? And then one day the light bulb goes off in your head, ding, and all of a sudden you see why everyone's in love with this plant. All of a sudden. And that's what happened with me when it came to the Alocasia Frydek. First of all, I never liked Alocasia. And then I got a couple, and then I started to like them. I started to figure them out. And then I got the variegated Alocasia Frydek, and I loved it for a long time, still love it, and wasn't interested in the regular one until my mom got a regular, like just the green version. And it just looked, I don't know, it just looks so beautiful. And I have one here. You can probably see it like in the lower corner here. She got a really good specimen to begin with. Hers was like growing beautifully, so she gave me a few pieces of hers. And in true alocasia fashion, once you mess with them, touch their roots, adjust them in any way, they go into shock. And for this one, my conditions are different than my mom's. The medium I put them in is different than my mom's. So right now it's, you know, it's doing its usual, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's giving its usual like meltdown. Gonna recover soon, but anyways, what do I love about it? I really love the stark contrast between like the deep, sometimes light green leaves and then the veins inside the leaves. And I just love that it has like a slightly velvet look to it. I love the leaf shape, and especially when it becomes big and mature, it's just so striking. But if you have one, you know what I mean. But I love it. I really love it. It's funny, I never liked them before. I never did. And then all of a sudden, it just shows how as time goes by, your preferences change, and you know, start to see beauty in things you never saw beauty in before. So definitely I'll be getting another one of the Alocasia Frydek. I'll definitely get one of those, purchasing one of those. And then another one that I would get, another alocasia that I would get, is the Alocasia Black Velvet. That one I think is, apart from the Frydek, that one is my second favorite alocasia because it is really easy to grow. I'm not sure if maybe I just got a really good specimen, or I got it for I think $3 in January at a plant sale, and I got over 10 corms in the pot. Sometimes alocasia, you know, you get a leaf, you lose a leaf, you get a leaf, you lose a leaf. Sometimes that happens, and it didn't help that my cat knocked it over a few times. But even then, considering how sensitive alocasia can be, this one I still think is doing really well considering like its circumstances, like what has happened to it in the time that I've had it. I just really love the dark green velvet leaves, and sometimes when the light hits it, it has this iridescence to it. I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but especially those new leaves as well, when they emerge, it's beautiful. And the velvet look to it, it literally feels like it literally feels like something, a texture that I feel on fabric somewhere. It's a good plant. It's a good plant. I definitely would want to get another one of them and have like a nice, when it matures and get those nice big leaves, I would love to have a bunch of those in my collection. But so far it's easygoing, not picky with humidity. It just loves its light. It likes to keep its roots dry. Self-watering setup. Pon, beautiful for alocasia, or like leca, that kind of stuff. Semi-hydro, they love that. And you've got a happy, healthy plant. That's another one that I would get.
Like what you see? If you do, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button down below, and consider subscribing. You may enjoy the other videos on my channel. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, so I think I've listed them all, and I have a few honorable mentions. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is I wouldn't be running to get those, but I would eventually, after getting the ones that I've mentioned above, I would try to source one of these eventually. For starters, I would not purchase, but I would probably try to get a cutting of a Monstera Deliciosa. It was my first love, the first houseplant that started this whole thing of me collecting houseplants, very jungle looking with the fenestrations and stuff like that. I wouldn't buy one because they propagate so easily and they grow so quickly that I wouldn't spend the money on one, but I would just try to source a free cutting or $5 cutting somewhere and start from there. But ideally, because Monstera are so big, ideally I would want to have a more uncommon Monstera in my collection. So I'd probably prefer to have like one of a variegated one, So that's why this is an honorable mention, because if again I was on a budget and I could, it's not possible for me to get a variegated one and I was restarting my collection, I would in the meantime get the green Monstera Deliciosa. But the reason it's on the honorables list is because Monsteras get so big that I wouldn't want, if I knew I was going to get a variegated one, I wouldn't deliberately want to have two big Monsteras. I'd rather just have one. But again, if I'm restarting, I would probably get like a regular Monstera Deliciosa to give me that jungle look. Another one that's an honorable mention is I think it's a Sansevieria. I know it got reclassified, but a snake plant. Specifically the Laurentii. I wouldn't get a small one. I would want to get a big one. And the big ones can be a little bit pricey. You know, like because snake plants grow so slowly, they take forever. But it's an honorable mention because I find that they fill in spots or areas in the home beautifully. Like right now, I had mine like in a corner under a very weak grow light for a long time, for maybe 2 years, maybe more than that. And it was perfectly fine. I watered it like maybe once a month when I remembered. Sometimes I'm pretty sure it's gone longer than that without watering, and it's been just fine. But I've recently moved it into a north facing window, so it's definitely getting more light there. It's still doing really well, so easy going, but I like them because you can push them into darker areas. Again, not completely nothing, they need something, but you could push them into darker areas and they just help to fill in that space and add some life in a blank area.
And then another one that I would get is some form of a ficus. So I love my trees, I love having big plants, and if I had to restart and get another big plant, I think the first ficus, or like I say ficus specifically because I have many different types of ficus right now. The ficus that I would reach for would be the Ficus shiveriana or the Ficus Moonshine, that one specifically, because currently I have the fiddly fig. I'm looking over there because that's where it is. The fiddly fig, I have the Ficus burgundy and a Ficus Tineke. And I have these three, they're nice, but I don't have a shiveriana. And so because I have these three, I feel like, or I've experienced or grown these three, I would, if I had to get another one, I would like to try a different kind, a different variety. So that's why I would pick the Moonshine. Either that one or I would get another Ficus Tineke, but I would most likely get a Moonshine. Probably I'd get both, but I think I would just get the Shiveriana instead. That one I've never had before, so I'd like to try it out for the first time. The Tineke it's good, but it tends to like, it's very easy to over or underwater it. It as it gets a little bit bigger. Mine was perfect. I had every leaf was perfect. I had it figured out, and then I sort of got a little bit overconfident and changed its conditions. And ever since then, I've never quite been able to hit the nail on the head like I used to when I first got it, like the first year that I had it. So with that one, and those creamy white leaves, when they get a brown spot, it's so stark. It's so obvious, and it really stands out when it has a blemish on the leaf. So I would lean towards the Moonshine to try it out. If any of you have it, let me know. What's it like? Is it easy? Is it challenging? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm not looking to get one. Probably, again, if I lost at least one of my other ficus plants, I would get it. But for now, I have no need for it. But that's the one that I would pick. I like the unique variegation on the leaves, and it's unlike your other ficus plants, but in terms of variegation, not in terms of leaf shape. It has the same distinct, like the paddle-like leaf. But yeah, that's the one that I would pick. And I think that's it overall. That's all of the common houseplants that I would get if I had to restart my entire collection. So I'm curious. I need to know what you would pick. Tell me. Let me know in the comments down below which common houseplants definitely you'd be repurchasing if you lost your entire collection. I want to know because I'm pretty sure There are some that I'm forgetting right now. There are some that I'm not thinking of. But based on my current collection and what I have, that's what I would reach for. Again, let me know if you're interested in one for uncommon or rare houseplants. That's something I would be very excited to do, since I have quite a few of them and there are some that I would not repurchase. So let me know if you're interested. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending some time with me and taking the time to watch and interact with my content. A lot of you have done that. I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, you may enjoy these other ones here. And an easy way to subscribe is by clicking this button right here. See you in the next video.